In the final round,
the audience choice ingredient?
Bud Light!
And here we go.
Looks like Chef Dubois is emulsifying the Bud Light into a foam. What's his competitor doing?
He appears to be having a really good time.
A Bud Light reduction for Dubois. And his opponent?
Also improvising nicely. Let's see that again.
Judges.
I like the use of the pressure cooker to tenderize the beef.
But also the use of the cell phone to order the pizza.
It's the sure sign of a good time. It's just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Sorry, Chef, we're gonna need more ingredient.
From Buffalo Wild Wings, this is the Jeff Fisher Show, brought to you by Super Park, Spirit Toyota Scion, and Bud Light.
Welcome back to the Jeff Fisher Show. You heard the phone numbers. We'll take your comments on Twitter as well. Our handle is @RamsRadio. We want to welcome in Rams head coach Jeff Fisher. Jeff, good evening. How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Good. Body clock back to normal yet?
Nope.
Nope, not yet.
No. What time is it?
I don't know. It's 1:15 London time?
1:15 London time.
London time. It's interesting when you go over, you just lose an entire day of your life.
Yeah. It was a good trip overall, except for 3 hours. You know, other than that, I thought it was, in the long run, I think it's going to help the players. They spent a lot of quality time together. They learned how to, focus on the details of the week and practice and meetings. But we just didn't see that coming and have to put that behind us. And I think it's going to be a real test for our young team to see how well they deal with that and just put it behind you and just move on.
When I talked to you on Friday, you were firmly convinced that this wasn't going to be a distraction and your team was ready to go. I mean,
it was not. You have really only a couple things to base it on. One is how you practice.
Right.
And we had great practice. I mean, they were flying around and having fun and not making any mistakes. And then emotionally you go in, you get ready for a big game, and after 2.5 minutes, things look pretty good. And then, that 5-play 80-yard drive for a touchdown. And then things fell apart after that. I told them we should have just gone back in the tunnel, went to the hotel, got an airplane, flew back. 7-0.
Or maybe onside kick after 7-0.
Right,
huh?
7-0.
You can't see that coming. Nobody saw it coming. But when that offense gets on a roll, and the testament is that 17 straight games of 350 yards of offense more, it's never been done in the history of the National Football League. So when they get on a roll, you said going in the key was third down, and they had the success on third down.
Yeah,
that's the whole deal right there.
When you get them into third down, and we allowed them to convert, whether it was a pass interference penalty or it was a missed tackle or what have you. So, you've got to get them off the field, get them to kick field goals, and then our thought going in was that knowing that they were solid up front, we still felt like if we ran the football, kept Tom Brady off the field, that we'd have a chance. And, once the score got out of hand, you could see where, philosophically I wasn't going to go into no huddle and throw, try to catch up 35 points. You don't want to get Sam hit. And you just say, okay, hey, this didn't work out. We're going to work on these things, and we're going to, because it became a challenge for us once we started having the injuries on the offensive line, when you got two guys starting just their second game against a multiple defense that we were playing, and then when Barry went down and Chris went in, and we didn't have Wayne, it was kind of we got to make sure Sam stays on his feet.
So, number one, I don't know how you're supposed to play defense anymore in this league. I really don't. I mean, you have to allow some contact. That's just me. When you get ticky-tack and you got Brady rolling, it's almost impossible to stop. But watching Aaron Rodgers, I think his strength would be mobility, and he can throw on the run, and he's great. He's great at avoiding the rush and seeing what's going on downfield. What do you think Brady's strengths are, just watching him go?
Well, it's his vision. He's tall, and he's got you don't appreciate his arm until you see him in person. I mean, he has an arm. He can really wing it. And, he knows what he does when that offense is they get up on the line of scrimmage and they get going, and he sees something he likes or doesn't like, and he checks to it and he goes. And he's always has options, And so what you have to do is you have to get a hand up, deflect the ball, or have a ball go through somebody's fingers and make the catch. And you got to score on. You got to play almost a near perfect game to beat them when they're playing well.
And it seems like he makes it real hard for your defensive ends to get pressure by where he sets in the pocket.
He does, yeah. And then added to that fact is, how this is. It's hard to rush passer on wet grass now. It's hard footing. And with our speed at end, that's affected, and then you don't get the push inside, and he's standing in that pocket. The other alternative is to go ahead and manufacture pressure and go ahead and bring people, but he'll get up there and he'll see it, and then then you've got to change and get back out in and out. And so and now you understand why they run the ball so well, because of what he can do down the field.
You said today there are 12 penalties. You didn't have a problem with the 3 pass interference penalties, though.
I did not. No. Now you have to go from not look at the coaching tape, but you have to actually go to the TV tape and look at it. And Fletch grabbed also, 2 of the 3 times, and there was contact. I did have some problems with some other things. So
yes,
as far as Fisher was concerned, but I was really disappointed that our quarterback was not protected better.
On the Hightower hit?
Oh, my God.
Driven into the ground.
Yes, that's textbook,
and then
classic. Yeah,
classic. And then you're supposed to go out the landing gear, as DeMarco said.
Yeah, and then he's hit in the face, goes down hard on another play, and then on the scramble where he threw across his body, he got literally punched in the face.
Really?
And so, those 2 of those 3 are first downs, 15 yards, drive, stay alive. A couple of them were early in the game, and at least you don't know at that point, but there could potentially be a different outcome to the drive.
If I go back to the pass interference calls, the only thing that strikes me anyway, I'll speak for myself, is that the NFL has to be careful how often something is called, because literally you could call something on every play based on some of the calls that are made. And to me, when you're in position, when you read a play and you make the move and you're in as good a position to make a play on that ball, sometimes there's going to be some incidental contact. You don't have to comment on that, but that's just the way we see the game.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, you take another example, the other pass that he was in position to intercept, the receiver grabs him around the head. I mean, that if he had done that to the receiver, what do you think? There would have been 7 flags on the field. And so that's where. And again, it's a fast game. It's difficult to officiate, but you'd like to see a little bit more.
And I don't want to dwell on it, because you do a very good job of sweeping under the rug and not using that as an excuse. And I don't want to do it. I just want to see the game played
fairly.
I want to see the game played fairly, and let's not lose fact. I think player safety is important, but it's a physical game, and defenders should have as much chance to succeed as offensive players.
That's right. Make a play on the ball. Don't restrict. As long as you don't there's restriction, then just let them play.
Hey, Coach, there's Steven Jackson again being traded on TV. Why do all these rumors keep coming up?
I have no idea. People need things to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
They think that they can put 2 and 2 together, but that's not really reality. I mean, Steve, because I think in Steven's case, what we did with the contract back in the summer, now they think, well, we'll trade him now because the trading deadline's coming up or something. I don't know.
Now, is it fair to say you and Les will listen to anything that will make the team better?
Oh yeah, I mean that's no different than the other head coach and general manager. Yeah, you're gonna do whatever you can to make your team better. But he's our starting running back.
You're not on a mission to trade Steven Jackson. That's
correct.
What you're saying.
That's correct.
All right, let's welcome in our first caller tonight from Baldwin. Jim, good evening. You're on with head coach Jeff Fisher.
Hey, great. Thanks for putting me on. Coach, been a season ticket holder since the first year they got here. Love the acquisition of Coach Fisher. So my big question is, Brian Quick, what are your intentions the rest of the season for him? Because having Archuleta back and Givens, great receivers, what's the deal with him this year?
Well, Brian's coming on. He's doing well in practice. He's learning the offense. He's grasping the game plans. And, I think it's fair to assume you're going to see him play a little bit more as we move through the season. But there's Brian, in Brian's case, when he hasn't seen something or experienced something before, sometimes there's a lapse, for example, on the ball that was intercepted where Sam was hit. You'd like to see him put his feet in the ground and come back and break up that ball. So he doesn't, and the defender has possession of it, and he doesn't touch him down. He gets up and runs 10 yards. So there's awareness thing sometimes in the things that he does, but it's not because of lack of effort. He's trying really hard, and he saw some of his athletic ability on the catch that he made from Kellen down the sideline. I mean, that ball was put up. There was a small window, and he went up and got it and came down.
There's a notion going around that you drafted Brian with the 33rd overall pick simply based on a great workout. Now, I know that I've talked to Les. I talked to Les several occasions about this. Les, I won't say set up camp in Boone, North Carolina, but he told me over the course of 2 years in scouting, he went to Boone, North Carolina, which is where Appalachian State is, and watched him play 4 times. So the idea that he wasn't on your radar until he had a great pro day or a great combine workout, that's just not the case.
Not the case, no. No, we looked at him very closely, and I participated in that workout down there, and it was an outstanding workout. But he's going to be a good player. I mean, sometimes it takes guys just a little bit longer. You say, well, Chris has a lot more production than he does. Well, Chris only has 13 catches. He's got 5 of them are over 50 yards, but still, Brian's going to be a good player. You don't strike me as a guy that falls in love based on a workout. No. Because I had a really good workout at the gym today. I can get it to you on YouTube. Yeah, I missed it. Yeah. But so that's not really. It's funny because that doesn't strike me as your style. Is that you're going to want to see? You're going to want to see proof on tape. Well, all you have to do is watch him play at App State and see some of the athletic things that he did. Which is what Les and other scouts did, correct? That's right. Over a 2-year period. You've had some great workouts.
I was thinking, by whose standards, great workout? Our age standards or a young football player standards?
I grade myself.
I'm just checking. I just want to make sure. Just want to make sure.
In everything I do.
Speaking of the rookies on offense, I thought that's the. Well, I mean, you see him more than we did. The best Isaiah Pete has looked in a game. Yeah, he looked like a slashing back. Yeah, yeah, he did. I mean, and that's what he will become when he gets more of an opportunity to do so. Yeah, he's got really, really good run skills, and those were two and a half very impressive runs. Yeah.
Does he have to be a little bit more decisive though? Sometimes returning the kickoffs, coming out.
You need to make good decisions back there, and one of the things that he learns that he was coached up again and he's been told is you have to catch that ball moving forward. If you catch the ball moving laterally and come out, imagine that you take 1 or 2 lateral steps or a step backwards, the whole coverage team is 5 yards closer per step you take. And so you need to stay in when it's any deeper than 5. So it's an awareness thing with him, and those are the kind of things that we'll continue to work on.
Our next phone call comes in from Illinois. Joel, you're on with Rams head coach Jeff Fisher. Good evening.
Good evening, guys. Thank you for taking my call. I just want to say, Mr. Fisher, thank you for accepting and choosing to become a Ram. I appreciate it, and you guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Thank you.
You said today, Jeff, that 2 things really. You sum up where your football team is. You're not scoring touchdowns. You're not taking the football away. It becomes a pretty simple game when you do those 2 things, right?
Yeah, when you do those things. Yeah, you go in the stats and look at who's top in takeaways. You got New England, you got Atlanta, you got the Giants, and those teams that are playing very well. And the one thing, even though you don't want to turn the football over, we're not turning it over a lot. We're just not getting. I think we're -2 right now, and we're still -2 in takeaway, giveaway without having gotten a turnover in 3 weeks. So those things come. Believe me, they come. I've been around teams where you have a drought, and then all of a sudden, boom, it starts happening. And let's face it, when you play Brady and you play Rodgers and you play some of these quarterbacks we played, they're pretty good at protecting the football.
In your mind, what creates turnovers? What type of plays?
Well, you're talking about the
defense.
The fumble.
Takeaways.
Well, it's effort. And it's contact. Whether it's you hit the quarterback or whether you're knocking balls loose. Well, we're hitting some backs and we're hitting receivers, and and you can see. I mean, even on the couple of the Gronkowski tackles, guys are ripping at that ball. So it'll start coming out. But I mean, I don't think I've ever been around a team after 8 weeks where the opponent, mind you, has 2 fumbles and lost 1. I mean, then you're talking about, and that's all phases. That's punt returners, that's kickoff returners, that's everybody. So people aren't putting the ball on the ground, nor are we getting it out.
Next phone call is from California. Barry, welcome to the Jeff Fisher Show.
Hey, Coach. I really like what you're doing with the Rams. I know that, talent-wise, we're really we don't have quite the talent. I think a lot of people expect, miracles, but I know that you're really moving things in the right direction. I wanted to say that, we all love SJ, and what he's done for us over the years. But I think a lot of us understand that if he does have to go, that if it helps make the team better, we gotta support that. And then from another angle, a lot of us want to see him get to that big game, to the pinnacle, because he just deserves it. And then just a couple of just questions I want to ask you really quick. There was a huge penalty discretion between you guys, between us and the Pats. And then one other thing was what was the support like? Because we only see just the pregame little things. What was the support for the Rams over there in London, and the overall support? And thank you, Coach. Really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, it was good. We had a rally on Saturday, and there were 40,000 people there, and both teams were represented at separate times. And so we took a handful of our players, as did the Patriots, and there was Ram stuff all over the place. I saw somebody with a Rams jersey and a Patriots hat. So you might see some of that. We saw a lot of other team jerseys and team apparel represented over there. But there was it was interesting. The game itself was, while both teams were on the field, was very quiet. I mean, you could hear quarterbacks under center and snap counts and yell out there. Our coach, the quarterback device went down probably 6 or 8 times, and Shoddy's got to yell the play out to out to Sam. And by that I mean it's just so everybody's just watching. There's no home field advantage there, and so it was different. And then we didn't benefit, nor did we benefit from the replays on the boards, because they just didn't put replays up there.
Right.
And after the play, rarely, just because they felt like, even though it was technically our home game, that we, neither team should benefit one way or the other, so they just didn't put replays up there.
We will step aside for the moment. We'll take your phone calls when we come back, 314-969-0101 or 618-399-0101. You can hit us up on Twitter at Rams Radio. This is the Jeff Fisher Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Super Park, and Spirit Toyota on 101 ESPN and the St. Louis Rams Radio Network.
101 ESPN talk sports all day, every day. St. Louisans are the best sports fans in the world, and 101 ESPN brings all the passion and pride to the coverage you deserve. Mike and Mike every weekday morning. Zach and the Coach from 9 to 11. The godfather of St. Louis sports, Bernie Miklasz, from 11 to 2. The Fast Lane from 2 to 6. Then Stully and Rammer with baseball postseason action. 101 ESPN, St. Louis's sports station.
Hey, welcome back. A special Tuesday edition of the Jeff Fisher Show. Bye week this week. What does that mean to you, Jeff?
That means that we don't have a game this weekend, number one.
Yes.
Secondly, it's an opportunity to work on things, points of emphasis, if you will, areas of improvement, which we talked about. The new CBA requires that the players, or permits that the players, get 4 consecutive days off. They have to have 4 consecutive days off to their bye, so that would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Good weekend for them.
Good weekend
and
for
for
them.
you.
Yeah, and it's really, as we talked, it's similar to the Thursday game too, where they had, gave them Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, and brought it back in Tuesday. So we have to do a better job coming back off of this. Bye weeks are challenges. We'll talk about that next week, but timing, tempo, all those things. So we are going to work on some things. It's a chance to get some of the younger guys some quality practice reps that they need. So we'll probably spend a lot of time in the red zone the next couple of days.
Are the doors of the building still open? They can come work out, watch film, but just can't practice.
Yeah. We can't do anything of structure with them. They get their days off. They want to come in, fine. Watch tape, fine. Work out, fine. Some of them are going to have to stay because they're going to require treatment.
Sure. But how about the coach's schedule? You get
The coaches
you get a
will
little
get
break this
a
weekend?
little break, yes.
Little break.
Couple days, yeah. We'll
Couple
get a
days.
break, yeah.
Will you get away from the game completely?
Possibly so.
Will you eyeball any games this weekend?
Maybe a college game.
Was it maybe Auburn?
Yes.
Oh, no doubt.
Was it beneficial to be able to get home in time to watch the 49ers last night from a preparation standpoint?
I don't remember it.
Okay. They kicked off at 1:15 London time.
Did they?
Yes,
Okay.
they did.
Yeah, didn't they have a quarterback complete a bunch of passes last night?
Something like that.
Did they?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Let's go to Rolla. We're all over the place tonight, which is what we love. We're all over the place. We're going to Rolla, Phelps County, and welcome in Derek. Derek, you're on with head coach Jeff Fisher.
Hello, guys. Hope you're having a good night. I was wanting to compliment Coach Boudreau. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. We've put in some pieces here and there. I mean, I know we've had a few rough games, and that's going to happen, but I'm just really impressed the way Barksdale stepped in, Smith stepped in. You know, you had Hunter, who Greeny on the Mike and Mike show was saying this was the worst lineman ever. Then he comes in and plays left tackle. I thought he was very, very solid, and I hope there's a chance we get to retain him. But I guess my main point is, how's the offensive line going to shape up once Sapple comes back and Wells? Is there a way to sneak Hunter in the left guard, or is he going to be a swing tackle? I was just curious how that's all going to play out. And I think you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. We do have some things to sort out, and those are good problems to have now that we know what Shelley can do, and he'll only get better. We know what Joe can do. He's getting better. We've seen Joe play last year. You didn't see Shelley, however, only in preseason. And then with Wayne healing up, yeah, we've got options. So. I think the biggest thing, the most important thing for us right now is to get Roger back and then get Chris back, and then, we can. I think Shelley would be great between the two of them, and then we'll just go. But again, if when you see the improvement from week to week, there's it's encouraging. And part of the, we had some false starts. I mean that's. When you try to use hard counts and non-rhythmic counts to throw them off, there's going to be one or two, especially if you got some guys up there that aren't used to the cadence.
Well, you were shuffling. At one point, I was trying to describe between plays the shuffling that went on. You had lost Barksdale for a play after Chris Williams went down, and then you move Harvey from right guard to left tackle, right? No,
Harvey from right guard, left tackle.
And then you you bring in Tim Barnes.
Yes,
so
Tim
you
Barnes
had all kinds of moving parts at one point.
Yes,
but that's been the case since week one.
That's correct.
So after the bye, Roger's close, right?
I think he's close. Yeah.
How about Scott Wells?
He's not as close, but I would classify him as close too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wayne Hunter.
Wayne should be okay. Yeah.
Starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel there. Now, if I get asked anything every day, I get asked this: when's Danny coming back? How close is Danny?
Danny ran around pretty well last week on the field, and we're going to cut Danny loose this week and see how he does. I would think that Danny would be. There'd be a really good chance that Danny would have an opportunity to play against the 49ers.
So a lot of good bodies, a lot of good players coming back for your second half run.
You need to get Eugene back as well. So Eugene Sims,
yes.
we lost.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
It just seems like Danny helps your team so much, offensively, special teams wise. He could be a great decoy. He just does so much for you. I mean, that's the guy you want to have them all back, but that's the one guy that you really want to have back in that offense.
That's
especially
right.
for your quarterback.
And he's the other thing is he's a good punt returner. I've been pleased with Austin. Austin I trust. I told you guys. I trust Austin to do it, to go in there and get that job done, because he understands it. He makes good decisions now, and he's got some run skills. So, we just have to get people's punter on the field.
That's right. Let's go to St. Louis County here, right where we're at. Welcome in, Dan. Dan, you're on with head coach Jeff Fisher. Good evening.
Hey guys. Hey, just a couple questions. I see the defense seems to be so much faster than they were last year. Is that a process of the coaching, and then is that what you have built the team from, is the defensive standpoint? And then two other quick things. So do you guys watch the scoreboard every week, hoping that Washington keeps losing so that our draft picks keep getting higher? And then every time Coach Fisher walks into the Jones Dome, do you look up and kind of cringe when you see that World Championship banner hanging up there?
Okay, so I'll start with the last one. No, it was a great game, and I'm part of the Rams organization right now, and when you're part of an organization, you buy into the history. So that's part of the history of this organization. Still have some great memories from that, however. What was the other question?
Boy, I was making
Washington.
The Washington question about the draft.
Mike Shanahan is a good friend of mine, so yes.
Yeah, he would. If he's such a good friend, he would understand that answer.
He would totally understand.
Sure, he would.
Mike, I'm so sorry you lost another one. Dang. Yeah.
You're not even close to being focused on the draft, though.
That's
You're not
right.
even close to being focused on the draft.
Some friend.
Let's welcome in Philip from St. Louis. Philip, your question or comment for the Rams head coach?
I've got a couple of questions. One is just the philosophy on why teams don't use no-huddle more often to avoid, to get advantageous matchups. And the other thing is, I think there's a defensive back, Tremaine Johnson. If you're a guy that has the skill set to play free safety, would he be someone that you would look at in the future, not only as a cornerback, but maybe as a free safety? And evaluate his skills as either cornerback or safety. Thank you.
Okay, we drafted him as a corner, and we're going to keep him at the corner. He's got corner skills, and he's been surprising to me as far as what he's been doing on special teams too. He's a contact player, and he went down the opening kickoff and just blew up the wedge. And that's for a cornerback to do that.
But you can't have a wedge anymore.
Well, the two-man wedge. So, and then he made a play. We put him in there. We had a sub package he was in. We put him on Gronkowski down there, and he knocked the ball away. And so he's got he's earned the right to see some more time on the field.
You and I joke about that wedge thing a lot.
Yeah.
There's not there is a wedge. There isn't a wedge. It's two guys.
It's two guys. Two guys. More than two is a foul. But what happens is teams are pretty good at where the two guys end up next to the third guy.
Little gray area there.
And then you say, well, the cover guy brought him to
right.
Yeah.
But when you got a guy blowing it up, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
He was a teammate. Tremaine was a teammate of your son's at Montana.
Yes.
Did he catch your eye watching your son play?
Yeah, I watched him quite a bit.
At that level?
I saw him in person. I saw him. I was out there in the summer while they were, having 7-on-7 in the stadium in the afternoons before we went fishing and watched him. I knew he was gonna. I knew he had skills. I didn't know how it was gonna. At that point, it was a while ago, but I knew that he had skills and just need to see the production. He saw the production, and he's gonna be a good player.
He's big.
He's
big corner.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He easily would stand out in a 7-on-7 drill.
Can't miss him.
Yes.
Especially
at his
in
size.
the Big Sky Conference.
Yeah, he had. I think
that's good football.
3 different coaches in 3 years, and he's it worked out well for him. And then, of course, knowing the personality through Brandon, you know that you're drafting a good kid.
Speaking of your corner, Janoris Jenkins, we talked about the rookie wall. How do you feel about his performance Sunday and where he is right now?
He really had 2 issues. One, he got beat on the slant for a touchdown. It was poor technique. He knows that. The other, the touchdown pass that he was trailing, the first one, really, I'll take responsibility for that from a scheme standpoint. He got put in a different position and in the coverage concept that he wasn't used to, and that happened by motion. But they put him in that position. So one of those things he learns. But you know what? He covered. I think Brandon Lloyd is a very talented receiver.
He can run some routes now.
And Jenks did a pretty good job covering him. With the exception of those 2 plays, and then he knocks the ball loose from he broke up the one with Welker and broke up a couple more. Made a lot of tackles.
All right, we will take some more phone calls. Look ahead to the San Francisco game, 314-969-0101 or 618-399-0101, or hit us on Twitter at Rams Radio. This is the Jeff Fisher Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Super Park, and Spirit Toyota on 101 ESPN of the St. Louis Rams Radio Network.
Very superstitious, writings on the wall. Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans who do whatever it takes. Here we go.
All right, welcome back to the Jeff Fisher Show at Buffalo Wild Wings. We have gotten phone calls from all over America, and that theme continues. We're going to head to Anaheim, CA, and welcome in Scott. Scott, glad to have you with us. Your question or comment for the head coach?
Hey, Coach, welcome home. I just had a quick question. I want to ask you, what do you think of Ganaway? He looked really impressive coming out of school. What does he offer? What does he offer to the team? And what do you think his chances are of getting some touches? And then also, I know the Patriots are loaded with talent, and no one knows more than you. It's documented how your teams, your defenses have struggled against the Patriots. How can we? What do you think we can do the next time we get a chance to face them out there to be a little more successful, putting pressure on Brady? Thanks again, Coach. You're the best.
I appreciate. Well, beating them is it's not just all your defense. It's you have to beat the Patriots with all the phases. You have to make plays on special teams, as talented as they are. You have to get a couple more touches on special teams, either through forcing fumbles or fakes or something like that. And then, of course, offensively, you got to put some points on the board. You're not going to beat anybody scoring 7 points unless you're Cleveland, right? I think Cleveland won 7-6 or something like that. Yeah. So, and then defensively, you got to start your matchups inside. You have to have an ever-changing look for him, and be able to hit him every once in a while. We were not able to do that.
And Ganaway, you mentioned.
Ganaway, yes. We were very, very excited when the Jets released him. We had a good grade on him. And the Jets released him hoping to work him on the practice squad, and so we claimed him. So I think he's got a future ahead of him. He doesn't look like he's a 240-pound back, but he is. Mm-hmm. And he's got really good vision, acceleration, and he's got I think he's got a chance to be a pretty good back in this league.
He was dynamic in that bowl game.
You don't have to mention the bowl game.
That you and I talk about that happened to involve UW, but it was Baylor and UW. It was one of the wildest bowl games you ever see. I'm sure you at least saw highlights of it, but kid can run.
He can run. Yeah, he can run.
Let's go to St. Peter's and welcome in Chris. Chris, you're on with the head coach.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say, first of all, thanks for coming to the Rams. I think if you would have said to, all the fans in the offseason that we had a chance of being, where we're at the halfway point, everybody would have doubted that. So I love what you're doing. You can see, your aspect of coaching all throughout every aspect of our team. The main question that I have is, we've had wide receivers like Brandon Gibson on the team for a couple seasons now, and, he really hasn't done much, but as soon as your coaching staff's taken over, we've seen flashes from him, and it seems like he's getting better every single week. Would you just answer to the fact, is there something specific that your coaching staff is doing differently from what you saw from tape last year? Thanks for the call. Bye.
Well, thank you. Coach Sherman has been coaching receivers for a long time, and he's done a good job with this group as a whole. And, Ray expects a lot out of them. He's a technician. He works a lot. Spends a lot of time on releases, and that's the one thing that Brandon's doing very well right now. Is getting off the line of scrimmage, getting open, and Brandon plays like he's 6'3" or 6'4" because he's a leaper, and he can make those catches out of frame, and he's off to a pretty good start.
Let's welcome in Mike from South City. Mike, you're on with Rams head coach Jeff Fisher. Welcome.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to say, thanks for the good job. The one thing that you instilled in this team is a will to win and actually caring, which it just felt like it wasn't there for years. My question was, the draft's a little out, and I was just wondering, would you be hesitant to take a Tyrann Mathieu in the second or third round if you were there? Thank you.
Take a whom?
Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, LSU.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's ask me in the off season. I'm not ready to answer that question. I mean, I know he was a tremendously talented young man that had some issues down there. But
as we got a break for the record, I honestly don't remember who won the game. It's not why I brought it up.
Keep bringing up that
it was
you love bringing up when UW loses.
I don't love bringing it up.
He always loves when UW loses.
I do not. That is not the case. We will be back in a moment. I don't hate on anybody. This is the Jeff Fisher Show, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Super Park and Spirit Toyota on 101 ESPN and the St. Louis Rams Radio Network.
101 ESPN talk sports all day, every day. St. Louisans are the best sports fans in the world, and 101 ESPN brings all the passion and pride to the coverage you deserve. Mike and Mike every weekday morning. Zach and the Coach from 9 to 11. The godfather of St. Louis sports, Bernie Miklasz from 11 to 2. The Fast Lane from 2 to 6. Then Stully and Rammer with baseball postseason action. 101 ESPN, St. Louis's sports station.
All right, welcome back. Rams are off this week, but they will be taking on the 49ers a week from Sunday out in San Francisco. And, Jeff, tell me why this 49ers defense has been so good for the last 2 or 3 years. What stands out to you?
They've done a nice job building the defense. In particular, the linebacking group is really stout, and they run and they tie it all together. The corners are active, can play. They're smart safeties, are hitters, and then they can pressure you too. They as Arizona found out, it's hard to run against them. Now Arizona struggled a little bit as of late in the run game just because of injuries, but it's a very, very talented defense, and I guess you got to take a hard look at what the Giants did to them, and look at that game because the Giants played them pretty well.
And the other side of the ball, Alex Smith has come along pretty well.
Coming on well, they're going to run it, and they protect him well through play action pass. Don't do a lot with him, but when they can run it the way they can, the short passing game, becomes quite effective along with the play action pass. And when you've got Crabtree healthy and Vernon healthy, and now Randy's playing a little bit more. Randy looks like he's maybe back to Randy. It creates matchup problems for you.
Vernon Davis, one of those special, unique talents that comes along every so often.
Yeah.
Wide receiver skills and a ridiculously strong tight end body.
That's just, we just faced one 2 days ago that's pretty good, and now we got another one.
Tight ends. At what point did this become more of a tight end league? Was there a player that
we've had tight ends. When you think of tight ends over the last 10 years, you think, well, Tony Gonzalez, and Tony was that type. And so now, people have been fortunate, and of course, our guy down in San Diego. And
Gates.
So now you've got big guys that are big targets that can run, get down the field, stretch defenses, and create matchup problems. The linebackers are typically going to have a difficult time with that coverage. And when you talk about Vernon Davis, most safeties are going to have a hard time with that by themselves.
You're getting guys back, but is there a concern about getting them enough reps before? Guys that have been out 6-7 weeks. You're talking about Roger Saffold, Scott Wells, and others. Is it, in your mind, incumbent upon you guys imperative that you get them enough reps?
You got to get them reps, yeah. You got to get them reps. But you're talking about guys that have played, Scott's played a lot of football, and so Scott can get back. But he'd be the first one to tell you, hey, I need some practice reps. I need some live, full-speed practice reps before I get in. So we'll get them the reps. They'll have ample time. We'll pick up an extra day next week as well.
What are you looking forward to about the second half of the season? What do you expect from your football team in the final 8 games?
Bouncing back and just cutting it loose, in the game one of the second half, and that's at San Francisco. This is our third division game, and very fortunate to be 2-0 in the division, and the whole division's chasing San Francisco, so why not go out there and play well?
Let's squeeze in one more phone call before we cut you loose. He hung up. But you can call back in a couple of weeks. We'll be back within a couple of weeks. Jeff, I know it's a bye week. We appreciate you taking the time. I know the Rams fans do as well. And first half was fun for us, really was. We're looking forward to the second half.
Got to get better. It's halftime.
It's halftime.
Got to make some adjustments and go.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Appreciate it. How about a hand for Jeff Fisher, Rams head coach, joining us as he does every week here at Buffalo Wild Wings. Want to thank everybody on site. Thank you for coming out. And I want you to rest up.
I forgot my question.
What was it?
Is this the first opponent that became a head coach that he's ever coached against? Harbaugh. I'm sure he's coached against him at one point.
As a player, you mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I should have asked him that. I'll ask him that later.
Close.
What?
Harbaugh would have been. Yeah, I guess he probably was playing when Jeff was down in with the
real early. Yeah,
Oilers/Titans. Anyway, looking forward to the second half.
Can't wait,
thanks
man.
to everybody tuning out. Thank you for tuning in. That's good night from the Jeff Fisher Show. Buffalo Wild Wings and the St. Louis Rams Radio Network, 101 ESPN.